Hello. All right. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Just pinning my comment. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay. Pin comment. Awesome. All right. Okay, we're just waiting on Teressa. I'm Jaclyn Johnson. For you guys just tuning in, how's everyone doing? I'm the founder of Create Cultivate, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today for our Priceless Conversations series with small business owners. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Maybe just drop a thumbs up in the comments. Yeah, no, yeah, oh, hi, there we go, yay, okay, cool. Awesome, all right, so here's Teressa, how I go. Let's see. Hi, guys. Awesome. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I should have worn a hat today. I just didn't even think about it. I mean, we're lucky I washed my hair. Let's just be real. How are you?
Look great. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So welcome everyone to live Priceless Conversations. This is a digital mentorship program we are hosting in partnership with Mastercard to bring amazing small business owners together to ask the questions that they have about navigating this new normal, maintaining their business, and focusing on the future. So as you know, Mastercard kicked off this program weekly in May, introducing our experts of the week to engage with you and ask the hard-hitting questions for your businesses on the Hello Alice business platform, which I know, Teressa, you posted on and got some great questions. I get to host these amazing women and men and non-binary beauties on this channel to chat through what the questions were, how they answered them, and also ask your question. So if you guys see the Q&A box at the bottom, drop it in. We will try to get to your questions. So please, please, please do that. What we're going to be talking about today with Teressa is all about her modern millinery design studio. So obviously you guys can see her incredible hat on her head. Beautiful. She's super talented. She had to temporarily close her retail stores, obviously due to COVID-19. So I'm excited to talk to you about how you're pivoting, moving to digital, all these different things. So there's so much to get into. So let's do it.
Thank you, Jack.
Like the longest intro ever.
Great. No, it's great. Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen a great success in moving our in-person business online. So I'd love to talk about it and give out some tips of what we've learned during this time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's great to hear. So you actually recently led a series on how to build a sustainable community-first fashion brand. So we are going to talk a lot about community and community building, and then obviously about, when COVID-19 hit, you started experimenting with technology and being flexible and figuring out a new shopping experience, virtual try-ons, flexible inventory, all these different things. So can you give us a quick overview of that process and what you sort of did there? And then we'll get into the questions from the Hello Alice community.
Yeah, definitely. So when we first closed our doors, we definitely focused on, okay, how can we get this in-person experience online? So the first thing we did was every single thing, since everything's one of a kind and everything's made to measure, was we took all of our inventory that's in store and really built it online. And so I've noticed that with a lot of other small businesses that really thrive on brick and mortar experience, did sort of the same thing. We really had to go back, make everything, like do all of our product shots, figure out who can edit them for us, get everything online, get all the details. And then we started realizing that Shopify, actually, if you're built your site on Shopify, there's actually a lot of plugins and resources that are really inexpensive for businesses to use. So that's where we found our virtual try on, and that's where we found our customization tool, and that's where we found our inventory management tool. So I think that without COVID, we wouldn't have actually even looked at what those resources were available to us. And then once we started playing around in the App Store and Shopify, we thought, okay, this is actually quite doable for us to do, even with our small team, which we had to, bring in really tight when everything happened. So I think just mostly being flexible with what we could do too. We wouldn't generally be dropping things off at people's homes in Malibu or Brooklyn, but people didn't want to leave their homes anymore. And if we really wanted to continue, and I often think of our product as like a product that really sparks joy for people, you know, like you wear your magic crown and there's something magical that happens when it's on. So we wanted to continue to have that experience. And I think one thing that really helped us too is that because we're a made to measure business, we had low inventory. We just stopped doing production. We were working through the current inventory on hand, holding as much liquidity as we could, and then also taking the time to really build those personal relationships one-on-one that sometimes you don't get to have necessarily even in store, to dive deep into like deeper appointments and no interruptions. So that was like our focus was really making our Shopify experience as optimized as possible.
I love that. And I think that's so true. There's so many plugins and magical things that I feel like no one knew about until they basically were like, I have to learn how to go digital with my business. And now, you know, there's a lot, you don't have to build it from scratch, I think is like the lesson there. Is I think people are like, oh, cool, I have to go build an online shop. Like that's going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not. There's so much at your disposal to be able to use and pivot quickly. So that's amazing. So talk to me a little bit more about the made to measure, because I think that's so cool. How have you been using that, and how have you been gaining new customers during this time where you said like you were in the shop and like interacting, and that was really what made you magical? So like tell us about like this new pivot and how it's been working.
Yeah, so when we started 2.5 years ago, my hat company was truly just my passion project. And I really had no idea that it was going to lead me in this direction of my life. And I kind of just started letting the energy flow. And the more that I let it flow, the more business came in. And so when we first started, I actually, since I'm self-funded, I didn't have a lot of money to build inventory. So at first it was collecting vintage hats and restructuring them. And if someone ordered something, I would find a hat to match it. I would buy the materials that they wanted on their hat. And so everything became made to measure. I also realized that I don't necessarily know what everyone wants. Like as a designer and as an artist, we want to create a product and you hope that it picks up, but then as a business and sustainability, because our business is so focused with sustainability, like truly at our core of what we do, I just didn't think that people needed more stuff. I wanted someone to have something that really spoke to them, that was really special for them. So whether that's bringing me a silk that their grandmother gave them, or they bring me a charm of a necklace that broke that they can no longer wear. So everything we do here is made to measure. So if you see anything on our website, we really kind of have encouraged, rather than working like, and we do wholesale, but rather than doing a wholesale buy in your wholesale account, waiting 3 to 4 weeks or however long to we just do that process with our clients. And you actually, I think people would be surprised at how receptive people are actually to that, knowing that they're getting a really high quality product, they're investing in something, it's being made specifically for them, getting to choose all the nicks and bits that they want to put on it too. So that's just how we started. And actually that model helped us survive COVID, especially because we take like a deposit when we started. And then as we delivered products all through the month of April, and so cash flow was continuing to come through for those orders, since I had just now covered my expenses, and now we were able to have some profits still come in during the months after. And we really, I mean, we can talk, I'm sure we're going to talk about, I know one of the questions on here, but we didn't receive any funding during COVID. And I kind of like from the beginning, like when it happened, I was super like, we have to be self-sufficient in this. Like I can't expect going to come in. So we just like had to come up with all different kinds of ways to bring in income.
Totally. And I mean, I think to your point, inventory is a real struggle. Like you're trying to figure out, like, I mean, if there's a demand for 1,000 hats, you want to have 1,000 hats ready to go. But if for whatever reason there isn't, you're sitting on all that money when you could be using it for other things. And clearly you doubled down on your bespoke end of the business, which worked for you guys. So a lot of the questions that you got through the Hello Alice community were about modernizing your business and prioritizing your customers. And we'll highlight some of those. So we'll just dive right in on the top questions you received. So question number 1, and also a reminder, please drop your questions in the Q&A box so we can get to them. But I quit my job in December to launch my fashion brand full time. What advice do you have for launching a sustainable handbag business this summer despite the pandemic?
So I'm going to look at my notes too, because I did answer them on Hello Alice. I don't want to make sure I don't forget anything too. So after seeing Erin's company, my biggest advice was to launch, because she already had her Instagram built out. She's clearly been making bags for a while. And I think it's always the first step is always the hardest, to just do it, like announce you're doing it. And that's what I noticed on her Instagram, was that she had announced to people that she had launched her business. And my response to her question was, is it just the e-commerce aspect that you're lacking right now? Like, what are you missing? But I think more than ever, from what we've experienced, is that people want to connect with brands that have an authentic voice and have a product that they really support and are consciously creating. And I think we should also note, Jaclyn, that these questions came in May 23rd to the 25th. So a lot's changed in our world since we and I even I feel like as a business owner, my responses have changed a little bit in sense answering. Then my other thing was that, really during this time, take the opportunity to get your product into the right people's hands. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a macro influencer. I think someone that you admire, that you would love to see your product on, if you have the budget and have the ability to just get the product in a couple people's hands. And we, even in the beginning, we would message people and say, like, we see you wear hats all the time. Do you ever want to shoot and loan with a hat? And people are really receptive to on loaning, without undermining what people's network is worth as well. I think it's really important to value that super, needs to be, you need to get paid for your posts as well. And then the other thing is that, build a community around you of thought leaders that you respect to also help you guide into what that launch looks like. So if you're if you have the ability to have a small event or a small little launch party, just to start to get that synergy out to the world. I think the most important part is to just launch, take advantage of collaborations on Instagram DMs, do lives. And then also, I'm a huge believer in direct to consumer, but it's a great time to also work with retailer accounts right now and offer them your product on consignment and maybe have a lower opening order if you can. And if she's doing everything bespoke and has some bags laying around, it's really great to, I think, have a store owner that's been around for a while, who's been in business and has a clientele of the last 10 years. It's a great time for them to be introducing new brands to their clients too. So wholesale is a huge portion of our business as well.
I love that. And then also, obviously sustainability is a buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about being sustainable. What does it mean to be sustainable when you're launching a business? What goes into that? Because I think a lot of people have the goal of launching something sustainable, but they have no idea where to start.
Well, I think for us, we look at sustainability in three major ways: environmentally, economically, and socially. So environmentally, what are your raw products you're using? Who are you buying them from? Where are they from? Who are they paying? How do they support? How do the people like working at the companies that they're working at? And that falls into the economical side, I think, as well. But environmentally, what materials are you using? Fashion Rev is a great source. So do some diving on what materials you should be using. First understand the products that you're using within your product, the raw materials. Economically, how are you taking care of your team? How much are you paying? What's your budget? What can you do to sustain your business with your cash flow coming in and what you're putting out? And then socially, we're a super social responsible company. Who are you hiring? Who are you shooting? Who, engaging with on a social and from a social media standpoint. And then also kind of, sorry guys, sorry, we're shooting in the store right now. We have a delivery coming in.
Oh my God, don't even worry about it. There was a motorcycle blazing by 10 minutes. I'm like, great.
And then from a social aspect, just giving back and how is your business changing the community you're in? So we opened our store in Malibu. How can we make a difference in Los Angeles? We do beach cleanups all the time. We give a portion of our sales to organizations. We just donated $10,000 to 4 different Black Lives Matter organizations. So I think that's how you create a sustainable company, because in building those relationships, you bring in community partners that have that same vision, and you keep each other and hold each other up, I think, during that time. And that's been really important for us as our brand partnerships during this time.
I love that, because I think that's a unique approach to sustainability, but it's something that's very modern in that way. And I think that's so important. I think those elements all build into creating a great community around you, a great consumer base, all of that information. Okay, next question. What channels of communication do you find most helpful in building meaningful customer relationships outside of obviously your in-store presence? Is it phone? Are you texting them? Are you using email? Are you using social media? Like, what are you using?
We're on Instagram all day long. I feel like my part-time job is just managing our Instagram account. So Instagram is the easiest for us. We have a very visual product. We love posting the store. We love having cool music in the background. So the whole experience, we try to bring it onto our Instagram, and we really utilize, for our team, we utilize the primary and the general folders. So for my team, they're looking at my general folders. We're flagging clients that haven't necessarily, it's almost like abandoned cart, like they're talking to us, but we keep them flagged. And then once they secure their payment, or they purchase a hat from us, or their design is complete, we unflag it, but we keep them over in general. And then we also use email around, okay, so we should be using email around, 10 to 12 times a month. I think personally, we do around 2 to 8 emails a month right now. So I really think that we could increase that. We have a phone app called Sideline, and anyone downloads the phone, it's a business phone line, but it goes to my phone, it goes to Savannah's phone. So if anybody calls in the store, we can text them, we can keep the communication going, we can answer their questions. And then we love the new chat feature on our Shopify site, which also we installed during this time. So when someone's on the website and they have a question, we can just chat with them live on the website, which I always thought were kind of cheesy, but now I'm like, wait, this actually is helpful for people, and having that conversation when you get on the website. So I would say across the board, we're involved in all social channels. We less involved in Facebook just because we just don't take the time for it. And I really want to focus a lot more on Pinterest, just because where a ton of our clients are, being that like interior design kind of mind, and someone that like really has design focus.
What's your feeling on TikTok? Are you getting on the talk?
TikToks, like as a team, we got on TikTok and we were using it, and Savannah is definitely trying to get us to use it more. It's just the days go by so fast with such a small team that I really wish that we took more time to do TikTok, but I say do it. I mean, if anything, Savannah's going to make us go viral from TikTok, so she's so good at them. But I think it's brilliant, and I think if you have the time and the strategy and can do it, I mean, definitely do it.
I agree. I think that's really good advice. I mean, we are the same way, like Instagram all day long, but transparently, like as a consumer, a lot of my purchases come from Instagram, but they also come from Pinterest. So I feel like that's definitely a good place to be in terms of who your customer is. Obviously, if your customer is Gen Z, get on TikTok. What are you doing? Okay, next question. What are the top 3 actions you think have been the most impactful in successfully building a community?
Okay, so my top 3 were developing our authentic voice, number 1, and being super transparent, authentic, just during everything we've done since day one. Everyone is always like, "What's your personal Instagram?" Like, it's just the business one. We keep it all together, which sometimes does get me in trouble. But if anything, authenticity I think is really important right now. Developing partnerships, and that can mean everything from your suppliers to your retailers to your brand partnerships. And engaging on social media. And if I were to elaborate on that a little bit, I think your vibe attracts your tribe. Staying true to your voice and your vision will attract the right audience. Niche partnerships, like-minded brands for cross promotions, wholesale partners and retail partners. Finding your platform, like Instagram may be it for us, but I know that we're missing out on a huge opportunity on Pinterest. So I know that we need to get on there. Brick and mortar and in real life, as much as everyone says it's over, we're having like the most magical experiences still now since we've reopened our doors at half capacity, and we're doing by appointment, but we're allowing people back into the space. And once again, we're realizing just how important having that one-on-one relationship and knowing really what your clients want, and causes. Literally, we've always built our business with kindness at our core, and that's literally what our topic was at Create Cultivate that we spoke about last week. And giving back and connecting with others. I think that for us as a business, that's what's most fulfilling for us. It's what drives us. We love hats and we love, being artists and what we do. But I think being able to use our art as a platform to give back is definitely the most rewarding.
So you mentioned reopening. So are you reopened in New York and Los Angeles?
So New York is phase one still, so curbside pickup and orders. So no one's coming into our New York studio and retail store, but we do have a hat maker coming in around once a week to fulfill, help us on the back end. But we're really, like I said, we're really trying to work through our current inventory on hand that we built out. We got really lucky and had a really strong Q1, where most retail and fashion brands and retail brick and mortars don't. Q1 was our best quarter in business. We're also at a growth trajectory right now. And so we had great inventory buildup and had the cash on hand to actually build some inventory, which we usually wouldn't have. But so we've been really lucky. We're trying to work through that. And then Malibu is like, it's as normal could feel.
Yeah.
Open. We're allowing people to walk into the space with masks on. We're super careful on like what products people are touching. We have a disinfecting program. We have our alcohol mixed with our fabric spray, and then we're disinfecting the hats between each client. But yeah, that's how it's working. And it's actually, it's amazing to have the stores open again. But I would recommend if anyone's like still in the opening phase and they're thinking about reopening their store, I will say being by appointment only and being able to control the flow of traffic with a small team is so much better than just having full walk-in traffic on the weekends. It would just, I think it would honestly just be too stressful, and it wouldn't really be able to allow us to have that one-on-one relationship as people are coming into the store too.
Such great advice. And with the by appointment only, are you doing that just via email and social, or do you have like a specific program?
So we have it set up on our website that if you want to go on and book an appointment, we require a $50 deposit to come and book the appointment, get it on our calendar, mostly because we're in LA and so many people's schedules change and they can't make it, that we really wanted to have the investment and like,
yes,
that people come. If they cancel their appointment, we're going to refund them, you know, and then if they come and they don't buy anything or don't want to apply it, it stays, they can use it forever. They can get it in the form of a gift card and pass it on to someone. It's working really well right now. And then if someone comes up and they want to come into the store, we're not like, you have to give us $50 to come into the store. We're like, come in. If no one's here, we have the store for a reason, you know? And so once people come, so they can also do it on Instagram. We then basically send them a link to check out for a specific time, but also understanding our audience. Sometimes they just want to say, hey, I don't want to go to the link, but buzz me in for 11 a.m. We send them a calendar event on Google, and then we'll either do it on FaceTime or we'll do it on a call, or they'll be here in person. But it's working well so far. I love it.
I think that's such great advice. I also feel like, you know, even with like the $50 appointment, it's like when you're making a dinner reservation at a nice restaurant, it's like they make you, you know, put your credit card down. I think even doing that or saying like this $50 will go towards a purchase if you come in and purchase, and like, you know, being able, that's such a great way to like, you know, incentivize someone to buy.
Exactly. Walk up to the counter, and if someone's already in here and the store feels full, we just say, hey, like, what's your number? Let me text you from the sideline number. And then we do like a reservation system. We just text them as soon as the store is empty. We have time to clear it out, have a glass of water, and then prep for the next people to come in.
I think that's so great. So another question was, what advice do you have on transitioning in-person events? So obviously events, you know, where your studio is located, everything is like, you know, Industry City, it's like all about events and community and all that. What's your advice for transitioning in-person events to these like new online experiences?
You know, it's been, I feel like I'm not in the events business, so I don't know if like, I'm just like speaking for us personally, just because we did have pop-ups every single weekend, and that was
right.
a cross promotion for us. And for us to not have large marketing budgets, cross promotions organically, like in our store, and like using other, you know, email address lists, like for different like cross promotion on promoting events, has been a struggle. And I see that on my own Instagram numbers. Like we had such a higher growth, such a faster growth pre-COVID, because we had just snapping all the time and snapping and tagging. So now, you know, I think from a partnership standpoint, I love IG. I think it's like the best way to get both audiences online. Our stores are also in two really weird places. Like we're in the middle of Malibu and we're in the middle of Sunset Park, Brooklyn. So both of our places are a little bit more, you know, destination. So I do think we're reaching a wider audience now by doing our IG lives. We took our hat workshops onto Zoom, which was And that was a really great way to connect with tons of our current clients that wanted to hear about the process that never had the ability to do them with us. And then just also introduce it to a ton of new people. So people in Australia and New Zealand and, you know, the UK and all over joined our Zooms, and that was really fun. Twitch for fundraising events. We worked with a couple people that were doing fundraising events on Twitch, which was amazing. And then, yeah, Shopify virtual try-on, like we talked about, the customization tool, but that's not so much events. But I think, you know, really just staying connected to customers on social media has been the best way that we can transition. And congratulations on all the amazing events that you guys had. I was at summer camp this weekend.
Yay!
It was amazing.
Thanks.
I'm super impressed how much you guys have pivoted, and it's been incredible. And I've taken in so much more knowledge from the Create Cultivate Instagram account than I ever would have had access to prior to COVID. So big fan over here. Big fan.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we're just pivoting all over the place over here. But I mean, that's what you have to do with these types of businesses. So one more question, and then if you guys have Q&As, drop them in the Q&A box, and I will ask a few crowd questions. But, you know, you've talked about Instagram and how like your social media presence is so important to you. So what's your advice on growing an Instagram following? Because I think so many people right now are like trying to get their IG up. And there's a lot of noise. Like there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people doing a lot of different things. So what's your advice on sort of building an audience and keeping them engaged?
I think that it's also kind of what your product is and what you're doing. So I'm going to speak specifically to what we're doing right now. And one thing that I found was that our product shots that we were shooting with in like studio and were more stylized and more commercial looking really weren't doing well. And so what we did was I infiltrated more inspiring content, and a huge part of like what I'm liking all the time on my Instagram on people's posts. So we reinvented our Instagram over COVID to be more of like this inspirational destination and more shareable content. And by that, I mean, you know, usually if we post a hat and it's a beautiful hat, we'll have maybe, you know, 60 to 100 like saves on it or shares. But we're posting like inspiring content, destinations, more, you know, lifestyle content that we don't even shoot, and it's more sharing of content. Those were getting hundreds of shares, and our engagement went up like crazy. So I think, you know, being a place that is super niche in like what you're doing too. So we're hyper focused on hats, but I'm also kind of right now I'm in this like hat maker body, but truly an activist. And so I am like, all of my content on my Instagram right now is truly supporting Black Lives Matter movement and taking like a really big step on using my platform to be a voice for the movement. And not even that, but just being a resource that if people message me like, hey, I have this content, will you share it? Being open to receiving that content as well. Consistency is king. I think on days that we don't post on our account, it makes a huge difference. We personally have not posted on our grid in probably almost 2 weeks now, and it's definitely had a huge effect on our overall engagement and our growth right now. But I think, you know, building out a cohesive strategy and just a visual content, like even if you can't get all the copy down, if you can get your photo bank down together and like really get your post that you want to put up is really important. And then nonstop engagement. Like you need to have someone on your team, even if you have to hire like your cousin or younger sister, whoever it is. Like I get it, you can't hand it over to someone to just do your account for you, but you need someone that's constantly engaging, and you need to be sharing your friends' content. Like last night I shared maybe like 50 people on off the Create Cultivate account that I was like, these people are badass and I just want to share them onto my account and, you know, let people support them. And I think, you know, just cross promotion and collaborating on Instagram is huge too.
I agree. So we had a question come in. What's your advice to a new hat maker?
Make a lot of hats. Best advice is there's a lot of learning involved. It's a huge learning curve, so don't get discouraged. Watch as many YouTube videos as you can. Depending on what kind of hats you're making, be very mindful on who you're sourcing from. There's a lot of really not great product out there in terms of just like the raw materials of like wools that are being made by like unethical factories, fur that's being farmed. So just be super mindful about your raw material that you're using. And then if you're looking for like a starter packet, I would say get like one really good wood hat mold and like a tradition, like in a popular size, and just YouTube like all day and just get your hands dirty. You're going to mess up a ton. Your hat's on day one. It's like anything. You have to just, my hats 2 years ago, I see my hats from my first hats that I made for people that came to my studio, like my friends and family. I'm like, can I have that back? Can I make you a new one, please? Just have to learn. It's like a writer's first book. So just keep making.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to everyone for tuning into our Mastercard Live Priceless Conversations and joining us on this journey as we navigate the new normal. Such great advice. Thank you so much for being part of this live stream. Join me next week as I interview the lovely Kelsey Olivia, who's the CEO and creative director of East Olivia, to discuss expanding your event-based business in ways that are authentic to your brand for all of us events ladies. And if you want to ask her questions, just go to the Hello Alice community, the Business for All community, visiting it on the Hello Alice website. You can submit your questions. That's where today's questions came from. And don't forget, because we will continue to host these priceless conversations through June and July. So much fun, Teressa. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone go and follow her and buy a hat or do a virtual try-on or schedule an appointment.
Jaclyn, thank you so much. It's always so, like, it really means so much to me to do these. So thanks for having me. And it was really good to see you.
I know. So good to see you as well. Congratulations on pivoting and keeping the momentum. It's so awesome.
Thank you, Mastercard and Hello Alice and Create Cultivate.
Yay. All right. Bye, girl.
Kisses. Bye.